An opportunity to add some spark to the team's seasons after indifferent Premier League spells. The two clubs have won the FA Cup 5 times between them over the years, and I'll be hoping this is their year to reopen the trophy cabinet. The winners will become the 7th team in the quarter-final draw, which is later tonight, but a freezing Molineux must be negotiated first. Kyle Walker-Peters in possession for Southampton as he finds Mohamed Salisu. He's been on the bench 7 times in the Premier League, but hasn't reached full fitness since joining the club from Real Valladolid in the summer for £11 million. Is this the kind of game you want to ease yourself into in sub-zero temperatures of Wolverhampton?
Well, it is a welcome to English football, isn't it, for sure. I mean, the only thing that would make it a little bit warmer would be a feisty crowd inside Molineux this evening, but I'm sure he's happy to get a start. He's a player that needs to show that he's good enough, and I think he's in that track and on that journey to prove that he should be in the team. But Vestergaard back fit now for Southampton, who for me is a massive boost for them overall, but be interesting to see how Salisu does.
Southampton have it here at the back with Bednarek to Fraser Forster, the cup goalkeeper. Walker-Peters. Pushed back here by Johnny, the left wing back for Wolves, back after a 6-month spell on the sidelines with an ACL injury. Salisu taking a risk there as he was closed down by Morgan Gibbs-White. It's a Southampton throw.
Yeah, he was slow adjusting to the ball there, Salisu. He let it roll across his body. I felt the first time right-footed pass just to sweep it wide early was the right option.
Nearly 100 games in charge now for Ralph Hasenhüttl. He was in good spirits yesterday in his press conference, quite happy that they'd had a normal training session this week because of the way things that have been going this season with the schedule of matches. It's been recovery and preparation for the players for most of this season, but they had a relatively normal session. Wolves likewise had a bit of a rest since Sunday's game against Leicester. Here's Vitinha, whose stunner at Chorley got them through in round 4. So Wolves throw. Bit of movement here for Wolves. João Moutinho eventually takes it. Ruben Neves, the captain for this evening, with Conor Cody on the bench. A very strong-looking Wolves bench, the likes of Pedro Neto and Adama Traore listed among the substitutes. Losing out there was Moussa Djenepo. And Saiss at the heart of the Wolves' defence tonight. Romeo. Bertrand. Djenepo, this is nice movement here from Southampton. Saiss stepping in. Under Dendoncker getting it partially clear, but not very far. Romeo there for Southampton. Redmond. Redmond again. Djenepo. Out of Keanu Herver, and the first corner is Southampton's.
Yeah, Southampton really looking to almost overcrowd that left-hand side of the pitch for them. I was looking to see if Djenepo or Redmond was going to stay out wide, but they look to be interchanging from what I've seen, and it does show Djenepo coming inside, Redmond going outside, and a little bit of interchange is going to cause a problem for Wolves. They're going to have to get in tune with that.
An early opportunity here for Southampton from this set play. Plenty crowding around the goalkeeper, John Ruddy, here in that near post area. And John Moss coming over to have a word. We do have VAR tonight. Simon Hooper is the man at the controls in West London.
There looks to be a stiff breeze there as well, doesn't there? Look at the players' shirts, and I'm sure with James Ward-Prowse, the one area he's going to put it is right in the middle of those players and ask a question of John Ruddy.
Certainly a man who can deliver. Can he deliver here? It is Ward-Prowse into a good area. Ruddy with two firm hands to it. Djenepo. His low ball in took a deflection, and Ruben Neves not taking any chances.
No, these in-swinging corners are really dangerous from James Ward-Prowse. You can see Wolves are fully on their guard, really getting set up. Some zonally inside the 6-yard box, and there's a couple of man markers in there as well, but it's really Ruddy that has to dominate this area.
Packed together again. Ward-Prowse delivering again, better this time, partially away, a miss kick there. Still a chance, fired through by Armstrong. And Wolves just about get away with it. It's another corner.
There's great pressure from Southampton. They don't win the initial contact, but such is the quality of the delivery, it's very difficult to get a clearing header. It's nodded down to the edge of the box, and it's not a bad strike. I think it was Armstrong, wasn't it, with his left foot coming on the edge of the box, but Southampton not allowing Wolves to clear properly.
Second short here. Redmond cuts it back, nice play. Oh, it's spilled by Ruddy, who grabs it at the second attempt. A smile on his face. I'm not sure his teammates were thinking the same.
A little bit of fortune there for Ruddy. I think Danny Ings just didn't quite know where the ball was going to drop. It was a lovely work corner. Really nice piece of play. Redmond bent his run to stay onside. And the strike, Danny Ings just couldn't react quick enough, and Ruddy, as you mentioned, very grateful to grab a hold of the ball.
Rui Patricio, the normal goalkeeper for Wolves, he's on the bench tonight, the Portuguese. His fellow countryman João Moutinho working it back here to Saiss. Kilman. Ball forward for Vitinha. I'm sure he won't thank him for that.
It's not the type of ball that Vitinha's going to be comfortable dealing, floating in and around his throat. He likes to have the ball to his feet and just be able to get it under control. That's what they really miss without Jimenez in the team, isn't it? That outlet just to clip the ball into. Such a good target man to lead the line.
Southampton doing much of the early running here. Do you think Wolves will be happy to sit off and play their normal counter-attacking brand?
Well, you'd think so. I mean, they might not have quite as much pace as what they normally have in wide areas, which does suit the counter-attacking more. So it wouldn't surprise me if Wolves wanted to have a little bit more possession of the ball.
Knocked out here by João Moutinho, but beyond Vitinha, it's a throw to Saints. Newcastle fully snooded up for this one. He posed the question yesterday about luck in his press conference and whether he feels Southampton haven't had much of it as this cross comes in towards Djenepo. Herver away. Bertrand. Bertrand again. Headed by Kilman. Ings, nice touch. Danny Ings. Oh, what a goal that would have been. Roman Saiss quick to it. A succession of corners here for Southampton.
Oh, a lovely piece of quick thinking from Danny Ings, and great covering defending from Saiss. Good layoff from James Ward-Prowse, but that's a lovely bit of improvisation from Danny Ings. Just knows the defender's coming, flicks it over his head. It's a lovely touch. And this is a really important block. He just tries a bit of a scissor kick to keep it down, and a really good block from Saiss.
Another Southampton corner. Ward-Prowse, the architect again. Herver's header by João Moutinho. Armstrong. Herver again. Djenepo. High into the south bank here at Molineux. 0-0, but Southampton doing all they can in these early stages.
Yeah, all the early pressure coming from Southampton. Nuno will be wanting his team to get together. They've defended these situations okay, but so many times the ball keeps dropping to the edge of the 18-yard box. That's where they look a little bit vulnerable for me. They're packing out the 6-yard box on the corner, but when the ball doesn't get fully cleared, it's always a Southampton player picking it up with an effort on goal.
Traditional slow starters, Wolves. They've conceded the first goal in 7 of their last 8 Premier League games at Molineux. Southampton scoring first in a 1-1 draw here between the sides back in late November. Kyle Walker-Peters taking this throw. He's missed the last 4 games with a quad injury. Ruben Neves. Herver. Neves, Gibbs-White trying to get away, Salisu giving himself some time. Good awareness there from Ruben Neves to find Dendoncker. Johnny, Vitinha. Johnny has Fabio Silva inside. Armstrong getting back there. Salisu to Forster. Bertrand can bring the ball away for his side. An FA Cup winner back in 2012 with Chelsea. Interesting styles here. Matt Wolves quite happy to sit off seemingly, while Southampton are going right at Wolves, trying to win the ball back at every given opportunity. High towards Ings. Redmond back for Danny Ings. He's only had one sight of goal, denied by Says the first time and the second time.
Yeah, they're losing out on that second ball in the midfield at the moment. Wolves, they're nice when they've got on the ball, but in and around the box, Southampton are really anticipating the loose ball. Tend to be stepping onto it every time. Fabio Silva trying to drive his side downfield. Huge money Wolves paid for him in the summer, £35 million from Porto. Plenty expected of him, though probably weren't expecting him to play this many minutes this soon, were they? I think it's very much a buy of potential, isn't it? There's no doubt in it. He's got lovely awareness when he receives the ball. He's got this ability to have a 360-degree awareness of what's around him, but he's still a young lad, lacking a little bit of physicality to lead the line for Wolves, and obviously always going to be compared to Jimenez, who does that so brilliantly.
Yeah, Raul Jimenez still out after suffering that depressed skull fracture against Arsenal at the Emirates back in December. Actually, it's been announced today that the money raised by the fans, who all chipped in to try and fund a banner supporting their star man, has been split between two charities in England. Headway, a brain injury specialist charity, and the Mexican Football Federation's Jugamos Todos as well, which is encouraging Mexican children to participate in sport. Nearly £25,000 the Wolves fans managed to put together between them.
That's a brilliant effort.
Kiana Hoover, Gibbs-White ahead of him. His ball in, Salisu away. First chance really, Wolves have been able to get bodies forward with 13 minutes gone.
It's the first time they've really worked it wide and got to the byline. It's very unlike Wolves, although you did mention they're slow starters at the moment.
Ruben Neves. Fine ball there, Hoover. And a bad ball to Fabio Silva. Bednarek gets something on it. And Oriol Romeu, calmness personified from him.
Just reacted quickly enough there, Bednarek. It's a nice piece of play, gets his head up. Hoover, Fabio Silva doesn't quite get across him. Bednarek reads it early enough and gets his body in. So that's that little bit of dynamic strength we're talking about with Fabio Silva, just being able to almost get his arm across the defender and dominate him physically.
Do you think that's something that comes naturally with age, or is Fabio Silva just going to have to spend more hours in the gym?
I think it's a combination of the two. I think he's a young man who's going to grow into his body. He hasn't quite got that full manly strength and power yet, but also, you're absolutely right, it's a mentality as well, that hungry bit of desire to want to get across the defender. You need to have a combination of the two.
Redmond. Prowse to Oriol Romeu, whose opportunities in 2021 so far have been hampered due to a calf injury. Hoover back here to John Ruddy. So he's looking for Fabio Silva, but too high for the youngster.
I do say it's a real feature of Southampton's play that I do like, the way they press in the attacking third. I think when Wolves play out, they'll always have 4 or 5 players really just gambling on the press. I mean, the downside is if they do get played through, they're very open and vulnerable, but they do have a lot of regains of possession in the attacking third, and you can see why.
Bednarek. João Moutinho applying the press. 34-year-old charging around, what a career he's had. That's a ball there for Ings to get after. Ruddy coming a long way. In between he and Kilman, they get the job done in the end. Two cup goalkeepers in the sticks tonight, Ruddy and Fraser Forster. Vitinha. Wolves down a man here. They've got João Moutinho down holding his head.
Yeah, Bednarek really did clatter into the back of him. Won the ball, but really did land a forearm on the back of Moutinho's head.
As a former centre-half yourself, would you say those kind of challenges are unavoidable sometimes if you come up against a small player in midfield?
Yeah, it's quite difficult. Just because if you're going to go and attack the ball and being aggressive, sometimes your momentum takes you into people, and Moutinho almost knew it was coming and was braced for it, but Bednarek's forearm just caught him in the back of the head. He won the ball cleanly. John Moss didn't seem to have a problem with it.
Rui Patricio there trying to keep himself warm as best as possible.
That is a good spot, just with the eyes.
Plenty of snow in Wolverhampton over the course of the week, has been the case around much of the country. And Nuno suitably wrapped up as well. Looks like João Moutinho is okay. Still feeling the after effects of it though. Herver. Morgan Gibbs-White, who came through the academy here at Wolves. Actually on loan at Swansea earlier this season before a fractured foot ended that spell. It's poor from Fraser Forster. Romeo making a challenge there. No whistle from the referee, and Southampton can carry it forward here with Armstrong. Ings ahead of him, Redmond to the left. It's past Ings, it's Redmond, behind Ings, Armstrong still, Stuart Armstrong. Kilman got something on it to deflect it behind.
It's almost as if Wolves stood still for a moment expecting the foul. John Moss waved play on, and they're on the back foot. They actually work it quite nicely. Redmond does a nice little run. Ings almost misses it twice, and it just falls to Armstrong. But Wolves managed to get out, get the block in. Just getting in front of the goal and just covering that line to the goal, but Wolves really didn't react well to not getting the foul they thought they should have had.
Already Southampton's 5th corner. Rarity though, as James Ward-Prowse gets his angles wrong.
He goes to the back post, and the only place there wasn't anybody from Southampton was at the back post. He put every corner almost on top of Ruddy so far.
Size short here, John Ruddy, who he uses now.
This is where Southampton press. They really do go after the ball here.
Let's work it out. Vitinha. Johnny, who signed a new contract with the club this week. Look at the feet of James Ward-Prowse, the Southampton captain.
It's almost like they just smother it, don't they, Southampton? They really do get after it. Got to play through. You've got to use your head, or either go long into the space and just try and find a longer ball, because to play through that amount of players is very difficult.
Gineppo. Ward-Prowse. He's been with the club since 8 years old. He is Southampton through and through. His free kick in Shrewsbury got them through, as he sealed the win in round 3. That had to be rearranged because of a COVID-19 outbreak at the Shropshire club. Not too far away from here. Salisu. Nervy moments early on, looks okay now. Ward-Prowse, great early ball for Walker-Peters. His cut back behind Redmond, coming onto it, Djenepo. And John Ruddy is there for Wolves, but there is certainly momentum with Southampton right now.
It's a great ball from James Ward-Prowse, wasn't it? It's the kind of quality and vision that he brings, that switch of play. Just allows the opportunity to happen. Lovely bit of vision, well-timed run. Walker-Peters, it's a good cutback as well. It's just a shame Redmond couldn't get onto that. I think is it Martinho back there? Yeah, Martinho or Nevet. Martinho just manages to get back. In fact, it's Vitinha just gets back in, and really important challenge.
Certainly not playing like a side who've lost their last 4 games, including a 9-0 hammering in that run.
They're very up and down though, aren't they? I mean, you just don't really know what you're going to get from Southampton. It's always quite exciting. They always play in the same style, but you know, the results have shown they can lose big or they can win big. But you're absolutely right. They play the same way. They press high. It doesn't matter who they're playing against, and I do like that about them. And I think it's what Ralph Hasenhüttl has brought to the club. It's like this fearless ability to go and play, and I think that's what makes them exciting and good to watch.
Wolves with a man down, and there's a tussle for the blanket in the stand as well. Not often that someone loses out to Adama Traore. Looks like Pedro Neto has won the battle. Conor Cody not interested. Look at the attempts so far though. Southampton have got a number of promising attacks, haven't they? Just haven't had that final ball so far.
Yeah, it's been really dominant. You look at that stat, isn't it? I was just mentioning, I've only think of one time or twice the ball's come in the box for Wolves, but it hasn't resulted in an effort on goal, and Southampton will want to convert some of those to goals, because you know the chances are coming, but the goals of late really have dried up.
Vitinha is the man down here for Wolves, who have a fairly strong looking bench this evening. Onotasawi, one of the players getting warm there at the moment. As we have another look at it here, Matt.
It was just a collision, wasn't it, on the edge of the box. Djenepo, a bit of a follow through, maybe with the elbow or the forearm just coming round there. The right elbow of Djenepo just collides with Vitinha's chin or jaw. Look at his neck there, I'm sure he'll be okay. Just a bit of a bump to the back of the head.
And the Wolves club doctor just having a look to check his vision at the moment. Of course, concussion substitutes have been introduced in the FA Cup as part of the ongoing IFAB trial. There is the man they missed so much, Raul Jimenez. There was an expectation that he wouldn't be playing again this season, but he's already back doing individual work at the club's training ground in the gym. He was saying in his press conference yesterday that they have had positive discussions with the consultant and that his feedback has been amazing.
It's great to see him back. Really nasty injury, and he appears to be recovering really well from it.
Looks like Vitinha is going to be okay. Hasn't really had too many opportunities to impress this season. He's on loan from Porto. The club have an option to make that permanent at the end of the season. To restart here with the drop ball for Wolves. After a couple of minutes break, we're over halfway through the first half, and Southampton well and truly on top. Dendoncker. Fabio Silva can't make it stick. Armstrong.
That's that Silva, lovely first touch, wasn't it? But just that urgency and strength after that, but killed the ball dead completely with a lovely first touch.
Ruben Neves. Gibbs White going in for the challenge. It breaks here for Moussa Djenepo. Redmond after it, Dendoncker also. João Moutinho using his experience there to find Johnny. What have Wolves got to do better here to try and get a foothold in this game?
Well, I think they're playing very differently in terms of the wide players aren't the same type of real pacey wide players they normally have, so the link-up play's got to be better. I think Silva has to get hold of the ball more and bring those players into play. but they definitely don't seem capable of really getting forward and getting into wide areas at the moment. I've only seen them once put a cross into the box, so that's something that Wolves are normally very dangerous at.
Johnny's throw. Coutinho back on and okay. Then Donker. Hoover. Saiss. Captain of Morocco. It's an offside flag here against Johnny.
Credit to Southampton's press as well. That really is a factor. Also why Wolves really haven't got a foothold in this game yet. As the ball's rolling across the back there, they really are hunting the ball down.
Peters. Also to Salisu, whose first touch is loose. Only played 31 times for Valladolid before Southampton decided to part with £11 million for him. Clearly a man that they rate. They just haven't been able to get him to the fitness levels they would like this season to be able to put him into the team. I'm happy to welcome back Yannick Vestergaard at the weekend. He's on the bench tonight. Saiss. João Moutinho around the corner for Johnny. Armstrong. Gives wide, looking to set Fabio Silva free. The boot of Salisu. Only 21 years old. Johnny. Rounded out by 3. Southampton short and sharp in their passing. Concern for Ralph Hasenhüttl may be that if they don't get the goal during this good spell they've had in the first half, that traditional second half specialist Wolves may come back to bite them.
Well, that could well be the pattern, couldn't it? Whenever you've been dominant, you want to show it with the goals tally. And they haven't managed to do that, Southampton. That's been the story of the past 10 games or so, hasn't it?
Ward-Prowse. Bednarek. Walker-Peters. Time is the call, and time is what Jan Bednarek has got. Armstrong. It's a bit like a game of chess right now. Southampton trying to plot their move. Neves. Dendoncker, who's filling in at the back right now. Hoover. Gives White. Nudges it past Salisu, then goes down. I don't think he'll be getting a penalty for that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Salisu made contact with the ball either, though. It'd be interesting to see it again. It's positive play from Gibbs-White, which is something that they've been lacking in that area of the pitch. Just a player to drive at a defender and ask the question. He certainly did that of Salisu.
Look at that on the replay in just a few moments.
It did look a little bit clumsy, didn't it? I'm not sure if he got a full contact with the ball. There was definitely shoulder-to-shoulder contact.
Either way, Simon Hooper, the VAR, will be having a look at this and play now pause, sorry, for that very reason.
Yeah, as he just drives at him, Gibbs-White. You think he's overran it, but I don't think Salisu gets a lot of the ball there. And there's definite contact with his left foot. It's a tight one because you can call it a shoulder-to-shoulder, but I think Gibbs-White is a tiny bit ahead of him. So then it almost looks like a bit of a shove from the back and a bit of contact with Salisu's left leg on Gibbs-White.
Is it conclusive from that angle? No, it's not.
No.
Play continues.
No, it was an interesting one to look at, though. I can understand why VAR have had a look. Just gets away with it a little bit there, Salisu. Could have gone either way for me. I mean, the chance came from a bit of positivity from Wolves, which is, you have to say, has been lacking in that area of the pitch in this first half an hour. They haven't asked enough questions of the full-backs of Southampton, all the centre-backs. Quite an easy ride up till now.
Inside the final 15 minutes of this first half. Barnsley against Chelsea, rounding off the 5th round action later this evening. But in between this game and that game is the draw for the quarter-finals. The winners here will take ball number 4. Bournemouth, Manchester United, Sheffield United, Everton, Manchester City and Leicester have all secured their places in the last 8. One of these teams will as well. Johnny twice. Armstrong doesn't know how to take it down, gives it to Saïs. Here's Gibbs-White. Changed easily by Bertrand. Redmond. To Redmond again, looking for Djenepo. What will Nuno Espirito Santo be thinking right now, having watched 32 minutes of his side so far?
Well, I think he'll be happy that they've rode that early storm, come through it unscathed so far, and they're just starting to get a little bit of a foothold in the goal. They look a bit more solid out of possession. Southampton aren't dominating as much as what they were, but I'm sure he'll have question marks in terms of going forward. The front 3 and midfield players and wing backs just creating more attacking chances for them.
Kilman. Southampton wanted a free kick there, the referee not obliging. Saïs. That's the foot of Herver. Ruben Neves. Saïs. He's ball in between the lines for Gibbs-White, who's trying to find Fabio Silva. He'll get there as well. Johnny. Vitinha. Southampton do well enough, and Danny Ings back there helping out his defence to win the free kick.
He does that well, Danny Ings. He always tracks back, reads that pass brilliantly. Vitinha doesn't expect it. He just steps in front and wins the ball and wins the foul.
Well, they haven't gone through the middle much, have they?
No, there hasn't been a lot of hold-up play. Everything has been wide, and I think that comes down to having a centre-forward in Fabio Silva who just doesn't get hold of the ball well enough into his feet. Really does normally kick-start the Wolves' attacks, that movement from Jimenez, get hold of the ball, play it wide, and then things tend to open up from there.
Fabio Silva down here holding his leg. They're continuing. Beaching the ground in pain here, Fabio Silva. Sportingly, Southampton put it into touch.
I didn't quite see what the contact was. Looks to be holding his right ankle. Whether or not it's a bit of a roll or a sprain, he just goes for this ball here. I think it's Ward-Prowse just comes in, has his foot up, just maybe stamps down the side of his foot. Doesn't appear to be that much contact, a bit of a bump and a bruise.
One of those you just have to suck up and get on with it.
Absolutely. You don't mind getting a kick when your foot's in the air. It's when your foot's planted and you have a roll or a twist where it gets a little bit more complicated.
Just over 10 to go in this first half. won just one of their last 10 against Wolves in all competitions. And a great recent record. A challenge here on Vitinha from James Ward-Prowse. A bit of needle in the game at the moment. Wolves feeling the pain.
There's two really similar tackles, and John Moss is letting a lot slide. I don't think they're bad tackles. I think Ward-Prowse has a right to go for the ball. Both feet are up. Not sure if there's a massive amount of contact here either, if I'm honest. More when he lands, I think. But he has a right to go for the ball there.
Doesn't appear to be much wrong with that at all.
No.
Vitinha feeling the pain for the second time in this game.
He seems to have spent more time on the floor at the moment in the first half than on his feet, Vitinha. It's James Ward-Prowse saying this is an FA Cup tie. Get on with it.
It's been competitive so far, but no goals and fairly limited chances overall. Wolves yet to have a single attempt on Fraser Forster's goal. Southampton had a number of tries in the first 20 minutes or so. And a number of corners. Walker-Peters, another summer signing as he landed from Spurs. Around £12 million. Comfortable in possession, trying to find Redmond there. Actually got 2 goals the last time Southampton beat Wolves back in April 2019 down at St Mary's. By João Moutinho, Johnny. Fabio Silva thought this time.
It's Ward-Prowse again, just coming in from the midfield position, helping out his centre-back who'd gone tight, gives the foul away, just gives an opportunity for Wolves to put the ball in the Southampton box, which we've barely seen anything of in this opening 37 minutes. There's a little bit of defending to do for Southampton.
João Moutinho over this for Wolves. Comfortably away. Johnny the furthest man back. Vitinha. The opportunity for Wolves is gone.
Not even sure if it made it into the box, the ball there. I think it was a little bit low, didn't really clear the first man. Quite comfortable for Southampton to deal with.
Ball by João Moutinho. Fabio Silva was on the run again. Here's Armstrong. Ward-Prowse. Just seemed to stop there for a second.
It was a bit strange, wasn't it?
Bertrand. Armstrong. Coleman tucks it away, but gives it straight back to the Scottish wide man. Gineppo with space to move into. Doesn't make the most of it.
There was an opportunity to drive at the Wolves players. He did that. Just couldn't find the pass to offload. Whoever just held his position quite nicely and anticipated the pass wide.
That's a little side on top in the early stages, but haven't found their goal yet. Their last 10 goals in the FA Cup have all been scored by different players, including an own goal from Gabriel Magalhaes against Arsenal. Walker-Peters. You're just perhaps a little bit surprised given how both of their Premier League seasons are going. They don't look as though they're in any relegation bod. They haven't gone full strength here tonight, and maybe at the expense of the league game between the two on Sunday.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I think the trouble with Southampton is that they're in such a dismal run of form in the Premier League that it is important that they get a win or a positive result. So I'm sure they have one eye on that. But you're right, they're both sitting in a similar kind of mid-table-ish position, and a run in the FA Cup for both clubs would just be a really welcome distraction and a really big boost.
In from Bertrand, good delivery to Redmond. The golden chance for Southampton goes begging.
He just didn't expect it, I don't think, Nathan Redmond. It was bizarre how it ended up with him at the back post. Johnny has his position and he almost just clips his heels. Johnny appealing to the linesman, but when the ball comes to him, it is a difficult one. It's almost bouncing behind him. He's a little bit too far in advance of the ball and can't make any clean contact to put the ball goalwards.
Salisu. Aside from their FA Cup wins in 2021, their only other win was a 1-0 win against Liverpool back on the 4th of January. Danny Ings scored in that game in just the second minute. They held on for the following 88. Their only league win since mid-December. We'll seeing a bit more of the ball in the last 5 minutes or so, Matt.
Yeah, I think they're slowly getting back. It's been a bit of a stalemate, hasn't it, since that opening 15 minutes or so. Both teams cancelling each other out a little bit in the middle of the park. Some good pressing, not enough good quality. We have a chance here now, though, a bit of space.
Plenty of space. Keanu Hoever has Gibbs White ahead of him, Fabio Silva as well. Bednarek with the best header, but good enough in the end for Ward-Prowse.
It's a poor ball from Hoever, wasn't it? Just hopeful, just drifted it up to the back post. There was players he could have picked out with a more definitive pass.
Vitinha. Romeo. Neves has it back. Vitinha, Neves. Johnny. João Moutinho. Johnny on his own. The players ahead of the ball. Southampton could break forward here. Solid challenge from Roman Saiz. Hoever was caught. And John Moss, the referee, pulling play back here for the first challenge.
There was a good advantage played by John Moss, allowed it to go on, realised the initial foul, there was no advantage. Just there from Ginyepo, just clips the heels.
Around 90 seconds of normal time in the first half. We will have a fair amount of added time as well. Wolves' goal struggles haven't just been in this game. Before tonight, they've gone over 6 hours of matches against teams with 11 men on the field since scoring. Since Willy Bolly scored against West Bromwich Albion in the Black Country Derby back on the 16th of January. What they would do for a goal here. Ruben Neves totally free round the back. João Moutinho looks to have picked him out, but it's Saiz instead who sends it skybound. A golden chance for Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Well, it's all whether it's offside. I think it would have been pulled back for offside. Having said that, Saiz doesn't know for sure. He doesn't execute that particularly well. It's quite a difficult skill to have the ball drop in over your shoulder and volley it with the opposite foot, but Southampton had to be really confident their line was good and tight, and from the pitches it was.
Bertrand. Cute for Redmond. Ruddy hammering that one into Ruben Neves. Not sure that was the plan.
Just wanted to test his touch a little bit, I think. Yeah, he's got a good first touch, Ruben Neves, thankfully.
3 minutes of additional time at the end of this first half. We're into those now. Peters sending a bit of a blind ball there. Kilman, Johnny, Vitinha. Free kick against Wolves. Do you think Nuno will be looking to turn to his bench in the early stage of the second half, given the talent he has at his disposal?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he will at half-time, but I think you're right. I think early in the second half, if he's still looking the same, I don't think either manager really wants extra time, do they, at this stage of the season with the fixture pile-up. Saw it yesterday in the Everton Spurs. By the end of it, the players really are tired and on their knees. I think at the moment, extra time's a big ask. So perhaps they will just try and get the game won.
Yeah, what a game that was at Goodison Park. A 9-goal thriller with Everton eventually progressing. Gineppo. Armstrong taking over. A determined run. Bertrand across towards Ings. Asking for the corner. Goal kick given.
Well, I'm sure he'll be asking for the corner, but Southampton work it well. You just feel that maybe the cutback was on from Bertrand here. If he could have just pulled that back for Armstrong, who was arriving in and around the penalty spot. I'm not sure if the channel was open. He tried to put it across, and Danny Ings, rightly so, has a complaint. That should have been a corner.
Just over a minute to go here at Molineux. Redmond, Saiss going out there with him. Redmond does really well. Gineppo. Wolves have numbers back, but Southampton don't mind about that. Walker-Peters. Romeu. Bertrand. Maybe a last chance in this first half to take the lead for Saints. Gineppo. Over there for Wolves. Just like Matt Upson, we're not going to be any closer to knowing at half-time who's going to go through.
No, I just don't think there's been enough quick play in this game. It's been a little bit slow and laboured, too many touches. When there is a bit of one-touch passing, it really does open up the space.
That will do for the first 45 and a bit here at Molineux. No goals. Southampton doing much of the early running here and had a number of half chances which they couldn't quite profit from in the end. Danny Ings with one really quick piece of play that was blocked off by Romain Saiss. Redmond with a missed kick as well on the edge of the penalty area. A number of players have gone close, but ultimately no goals in the first half here of this Emirates FA Cup 5th round tie. It has to be settled here tonight. We'll see what comes in the second half, but the half-time score, Wolves 0, Southampton 0. Here's Johnny, who has made way. Confirmed. So like for like at left wing back. Is that a change that surprises you, Matt Upson, given it's a player who's working his way back from an ACL injury?
I think that's exactly what it is. You can tell Johnny's not quite that usual bright, energetic player. It's going to take a little bit of time, and this is, you know, ideal game minutes for him to get in the FA Cup, so it doesn't surprise me to see him leave the field of play at half-time. I'm sure that would have been planned.
Underway. Wolves with very few opportunities in the first half. Southampton with plenty of half chances, but couldn't find a way through a tough Wolves back line. If it is goalless at the end of the 90, we will be heading into extra time. No changes for Southampton, as they were. They did make 5 coming into this game from the defeat at Newcastle on Saturday. Without Takumi Minamino tonight, due to the fact that he played for Liverpool earlier on in the competition. He's cup-tied. Salisu making his debut tonight, going back here to Forster. What have you made of his involvement so far for Saints?
He's looked okay, a couple of shaky moments with the ball. You'd say a little bit of lapses in concentration. But he's defended okay. If I'm honest, there hasn't been a massive question asked of him. So, you know, hopefully Wolves will be able to put a bit more attacking pressure on Southampton, and we'll see a little bit more of what he's made of.
It's a very youthful bench for Southampton tonight, in terms of the replacements they have at their disposal. Someone with plenty of experience though, Nathan Redmond. Djenepo losing out rather here to Herbert. Neves with an uncharacteristic giveaway. Bertrand. Off the boot of Dendoncker.
Not sure if either team are really putting the ball in the box as much as what they can. Bertrand had an opportunity there just to swing it into the box. That's what you want from the wide player. Put it in the box, and then if nobody's in there, you can ask the questions afterwards. It does ask the question of the Wolves' defence.
Who we saw just there, the Southampton boss, looking to try and bring some glory to Southampton, winners of this competition back in 1976, thanks to a goal from Bobby Stoke to beat Manchester United by 1-0 in the final. Rory McMenemy in his 11.5-year spell as manager of Southampton. Djenepo getting after this one. Herbert across for Wolves. By Gibbs-White towards Fabio Silva.
Just another example of Silva not getting hold of the ball, just getting muscled out of it by Salisu.
Bertrand with a smart turn, across it comes, and it should have been in from Armstrong. What a chance there for Southampton.
What a miss. That really is a miss from Armstrong. Really good cutback from Bertrand. And that is as simple as it's going to get for Armstrong, just to side foot that ball into the net. Ruddy was nowhere to be seen in the middle of the goal. He just had to hit the target. Such a poor miss.
Chances don't come better than that. Fabio Silva misses his flick. Bednarek to Walker-Peters. Ball from Oriol Romeu. Bertrand, who set up that chance a minute ago, and he may have done again here. Danny Ings in behind. It's Ings, good save by Ruddy, but in it goes, and Southampton have the lead finally. Or do they? No. An offside flag from Dan Robertson on the far side.
Yeah, it looks really tight. Whether Danny Ings times it well enough, I think the linesman's right. Looks to be just half a yard offside. It's a real piece of fortune with the finish though, wasn't it? Ruddy comes out, gets the block, and it ricochets back into the goal.
The offside check is underway.
Actually, looking from that has potential to be onside, doesn't it? So interesting when you see the naked eye on the clips and then you see the line go on. It's very tight either way.
Hard to tell from that angle whether Ings was leaning into it slightly. It was ruled out by the assistant straight away. But goal overruled by the VAR, and Southampton do have the lead through Danny Ings. Just his second goal in his last 11 games, and a huge slice of fortune about it.
Well, how much does he need that? Danny Ings, quite rightly so, celebrating with his teammates. It's a really good run and a good pass from Bertrand. Gets his heads up, just leaves it in the space. He knows he's onside. He tries to nutmeg Ruddy. Does well, the goalkeeper, to block it, and that's a real piece of good fortune. But Danny Ings won't care at the moment. He needed a piece of fortune like this to get back on the goal run. And there we see the offside just marginally when that line goes in. You can see even his upper body isn't leaning too much. Just stays onside. A really important goal for Southampton and for Danny Ings personally.
Played onside there by the foot of Max Kilman. Danny Ings strikes for Southampton in the FA Cup 5th round. I imagine a sigh of relief for Ralph Hasenhuttl after his side didn't take the chances when they had the period of pressure in the first half.
Yeah, sigh of relief for Stuart Armstrong as well. Missed a golden opportunity. And when you look at the the weight of opportunities and the numbers and the stats of the game, you have to say it's deserved from Southampton. They have been the team asking far bigger questions in the attacking third of the pitch than what Wolves have. Probably have deserved their goal.
More Prowse. Find the ball forward, so safety first. Walker-Peters. Carelessly gifted to Fabio Silva, who was caught, and a yellow card on the way here as well.
There's an air of desperation. That tackle from Kyle Walker-Peters. He knows he's made a mistake. He's overrun the ball. He's dwelling on the ball far too much. And then he makes this lunge straight into Fabio Silva as he puts a touch on the ball. It's lucky. I don't think he really catches him badly at all. It's a definite yellow card.
He goes into the book. Fabio Silva back on his feet. And João Moutinho with this free kick. Again, Ruben Neves left all alone in that deep position. João Moutinho in there, off the head of Romeu. Pushed by Dendoncker, was it? Neves. And eventually the ball went out of play.
I think the ball just ricocheted off of Neves, which leads to a goal kick. It's a decent set piece. I think the Wolves players just crept a little bit early. Romeu doesn't get a clearing header, and I think there may have been a shove in the back from Ings, but they get a little bit of good fortune with the ball ricocheting off Neves.
Given away, Herver onto it straight away for Wolves, in towards Fabio Silva. A rare sight of goal for the Portuguese teenager, and one which he can't take advantage of.
Well, what on earth is Salazar doing? I can't believe he's being this relaxed and nonchalant on the ball in that area of the pitch. It's crazy. They give it away. The press from Wolves is there, and then Fabio Silva just can't get the contact. I think Bednarek does just enough to put him off. They're very lucky to get away with that, Southampton. It's really poor decision making from Salazar. Fabio Silva doesn't make him pay.
They're not messing around with the short this time.
Sometimes I find it hard to see what you gain from playing that tight to the goalkeeper. It's such a dangerous tact. If you dwell on the ball just for that split second like Salazar did, you can really wind up in a lot of trouble very quickly.
Ruben Neves. Nouri, nice touch on there towards Vitinha, but it goes off the Portuguese last.
That's where Wolves are really lacking that wide pace. Vitinha doesn't have that turn of pace and power that a Neto, a Traore has to get on the end of this. It's a lovely improvisation in behind, and this is where you need the afterburners just to steal this ball and get there ahead of Salazar.
So letting that one bounce. Forster coming to bail him out. Southampton not helping themselves here. Herver, Fabio Silva into Morgan Gibbs-White, and Salazar recovering in time.
Taking a knock to the shins in the process as well, Salazar. I think he got a bit of follow-through from Gibbs-White's challenge, but better from Wolves. A little bit more aggressive, a little bit more dynamic. It's a bit of a loose header from Romeu. The ball pops wide. Good play from Silva, bringing him in. And that's decent defending from Salazar, who gets his body across, makes the tackle and wins the foul.
So a free kick for Southampton. As mentioned earlier, the two sides met in the FA Cup semi-finals back in 2003. Chris Marsden scored for Southampton down at St Mary's for a Paul Butler own goal, sealed the home side's win. Strachan in charge of Southampton that day. It's a nice ball, looking for Armstrong. Saiss out there with him. Redmond. A number of players trying to get it away for Wolves, but none can get the ball. Redmond, nice there for Armstrong. That's Gineppo. Nice touch away by João Moutinho. Now for Fabio Silva, what can he do? He's got a runner in Morgan Gibbs-White ahead of him, but Fabio Silva backing himself instead. And maybe it was the wrong option.
I think Bertrand did really well there. He just tracked the run of Morgan's Gibbs-White, which made Fabio Silva's mind up that he was going to go it alone. I don't think he was ever going to outpace Salisu. And once he put him wide, and Danny Ings' recovery, I mean, look at the position Danny Ings is in. He really does work hard for his team to recover back to that position from that situation. Just shows you the work rate he has for Southampton.
Is Fabio Silva just feeling a little bit sorry for himself out there right now?
I would say so. I think the first half statistics would indicate that. Didn't statistically have a good first half in terms of passes, holding on to the ball, getting the ball in the right areas, but there's a couple of occasions already in the second half he has had hold of the ball in the opposition box, brought somebody into play. He's got a lot of work to do to establish himself in this team.
Shot there of Adama Traore, who's been out to get warm on this freezing cold night here in Wolverhampton. And it looks like his time is fast upcoming here. Is he the kind of player they need to change their fortunes in this one?
Oh, it absolutely needs an injection of pace. I really think that would definitely help Wolves in and around that wide area. They've worked it wide a couple of times, but they just haven't got the pace to get in behind and hurt Southampton.
Bednarek, more Prowse, Walker-Peters. Saiss quickly into Morgan Gibbs-White. He hits the deck, and actually a free kick against him. And a yellow card for simulation for the man from Stafford down the road.
That's a great spot from the referee. You could clearly see from that angle there was no contact. James Ward-Prowse pulls out completely here. He realises can't get the ball and he just withdraws from the tackle. Gibbs-White going over like he's been fouled.
Confirmation of that booking. Morgan Gibbs-White, who was a member of the Under-17 World Cup winning squad with England. Phil Foden in the same team. Two go on to have contrasting careers since then. A moment that Morgan Gibbs-White would want to remember. Is his place under threat with Adama Traore readying himself here?
I would say so. I think if you look at him, you look at Vitinha, who for me hasn't had enough of the impact on the game. I think either one of those two players will be leaving the pitch for Traore.
Salisu. Gineppo to Ward-Prowse, anchoring things here. Armstrong, great run, really good run, and a good challenge by Aït-Nouri. We'll be seeing Willian José as well very shortly for Wolves. We're prepared to switch things up with half an hour to go here.
Has to roll the dice, doesn't he, Nuno? How they're looking going forwards is a bit toothless, doesn't surprise me. He's going to make a double change.
Not before this throw-in though. Walker-Peters. He's not comfortable slotting back into the side today. Neves. Fabio Silva. Dendoncker. Neves sliding in. Whoever says he was caught. The referee John Moss disagreed. Danny Ings. An easy one for John Ruddy.
Another example of that press from Southampton. Danny Ings gets the ball. He's only got one thing in his mind. He always looks like he made that decision early to get a shot off and try and test Ruddy.
Ruben Neves. Over. Nice touch back to Neves. That's what the rules were trying to do there. Didn't quite have the execution in the end. Aid Nouri. Force his way through. Space just isn't there for him. Redmond was saying there that Kilman was fouling him, but John Moss has let a few things go tonight.
He really has stepped back, hasn't he, the referee, and not wanted to interfere. I don't mind that tact. I think the game's been played in a pretty good spirit.
However, looking for Gibbs White. Salisu coming over, and it's out of play for a corner. Here come the reinforcements. If you're Ryan Bertrand right now, what are you thinking? With Adama Traore coming on to face you.
Well, I'm thinking I might have to get my running shoes on a little bit, and also he looks like he's pretty well oiled. I don't think he's going to be able to grab hold of him too easily, so he's going to have to adjust his position. Ryan Bertrand, if he comes over to this right-hand side, maybe give himself an extra half a yard.
And the end of the night as well for Fabio Silva, who's had a tough time out there, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really has. It's not a performance or a game that will go down in his memory. It's an important game, though. It's another step in the progress of him as a young developing player, but it's a signal that he's probably not that finished article yet.
And it comes towards Roman Saiz. Traore close by as well, but looks as though it was the Moroccan who got his head to it.
Yeah, he won the ball, but he's very far in advanced of the near post. So difficult to score from this area. And it had to be some header just glancing it perfectly towards the back post, but these Wolves showing they're going to be aggressive and go and attack the ball in the opposition box.
Talking of Ryan Bertrand, you were telling me before we went on air that you made your debut in the FA Cup here for Arsenal.
I did. I remember it really well. It was just a fabulous occasion for me. I played left back, and I just remember coming out to Hi-Ho Silva lining, and it really making the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It's a shame the players haven't had the privilege of hearing that with the crowd this evening, and hopefully we'll be hearing that song soon.
Sadly, with the current restrictions and the COVID-19 situation in England at the moment, that doesn't seem to be on the horizon anytime soon.
It really does get going in this stadium, though. I did find that it was very noticeable to me as a young player that hadn't experienced many pre-match atmospheres than the Molineux when Wolves supporters really do get going.
Well, Romeo. To Gineppo, over slipping, opening up the space here for Ryan Bertrand. Gineppo puts it on, the Mali international fouled. Ruben Neves. Just over 2 years in charge now for Ralph Hasenhüttl. Twice he's lost 9-0. This job's never been under threat. Not often you can say that for a coach.
It's the nature of how he plays and how he sets up. It's that fearless attitude. But Southampton, you know, let's be honest, they're not quite good enough to be fearless all the time against every team. And they've come unstuck a couple of times.
Gineppo, ball taken away from him by Dendoncker. Dendoncker says it's gone out. Goal kick. First time he's been involved in the FA Cup this season. Wasn't in either squad for the game against Shrewsbury or Arsenal down at St Mary's, which were played within 5 days of one another. Nearly halfway through this second half, Southampton back to dominating the ball again as Wolves look to try and get back into this one. Ings, the goal scorer in this tie so far. Bertrand. William Jose, the man at the top of the Wolves attack now. Ward-Prowse being pushed here by Aït-Nouri. Martinho dangling a foot, but Armstrong has done ever so well to evade all of them, and he's set Nathan Redmond away here. A chance for Redmond perhaps to send Saints through. It's a good block by Ruddy. But what a glorious opening there for Nathan Redmond. A great run, and Redmond was off on his bike.
Well, it all comes from that brilliant driving run from Armstrong. I think it's Dendoncker really gambles and hopes for the offside. It doesn't happen because Redmond's run is so good. And once he chops inside onto his left foot, Ruddy makes himself big, but he has to place it either side of the goalkeeper, Redmond. He opts for a bit of power and pace on the shot, whereas for me to place it would have been the better option.
Ward-Prowse's corner over the head of Vitinha. Romeo charging in there, comes back out to Armstrong. Deflected off someone on the way through. And a corner it shall be.
He's had a good game this evening, Armstrong. He's looked a constant threat for me. Driving at players and another effort on goal. But again, Wolves really losing out on the edge of the 18-yard box on set pieces. They're heavily weighted in the box as you look at it. If that ball falls on the edge, there's always a Southampton player waiting to get a strike on goal.
Southampton heading through as things stand. The second goal would give them the cushion. Ward-Prowse dipping that one in there. It was helped on by Ings. Back out to Armstrong. On his weaker side, it was always going to be a tough ask. Diving header away from Fraser Forster. Looks like Pedro Neto is going to come on here for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And Vitinha is going to make way. So they've changed the front three now.
Yeah, I think the front three that started the game had little or no impact on the game whatsoever. It's been a disappointing evening for all three, Gibbs-White, Silva and Vitinha. And I think Nuno's just hoping that he's relied and trusted upon front three can just pull a rabbit out of the hat here.
Pervert sends that one in there, Salisu away. First time really that Adama Traore's been able to get on the ball in 5 minutes since coming on. Dispossessed by Djenepo Traore. Ings. It's a good spot. And a great run by Armstrong. Aït-Nouri just positioned himself well enough in the end. Pedro Neto.
It's been full of running, Armstrong, all evening. I've been really impressed with how direct he's been, the energy he's showed. It's just been so easy for Southampton to dispossess Wolves of the ball in the midfield, or what moment it goes up to the front. Not retaining possession anywhere near well enough. I think the possession stats will show you that, especially in the second half.
With this throw. Foul by Traore. Southampton are going to have just enough here to edge past Wolves the way things are going.
Well, it looks like that, doesn't it? Because at the moment you just don't see Wolves as a threat to score. So, you know, I know there's only one goal in the balance, but at the moment I'm not seeing anything other than that from Wolves, that they're going to apply any real pressure to Southampton to cause them a problem.
Bertrand's throw. It's it back from Redmond. Possessed by Ruben Neves. Here's Traore.
Romeo does that job well for Southampton in that midfield. He really is a destroyer almost of play. Gets blocks in, tackles, second ball. Very real strong physical presence in the middle of the park.
John Moss, the referee, just having a quick word there with the Wolves skipper Ruben Neves. Aid Nouri. Kilman. He's scheduled to play for either Ukraine or Russia due to his parents' own nationalities. Brought up in England. A bit of talk from the Russian Football Federation president saying, well, it's all very well if he wants to play for Russia, but he's got to be good enough to play for us and be better than what we already have. Here's Redmond. Spotted by Saiss for a Southampton corner.
It came about from another really sloppy pass from, I think it was Saiss. Just here, their distribution from the back Wolves has been poor. It's cost them a few times like this, but he manages to get back and make amends and get a block. There's another James Ward-Prowse corner to have to deal with.
Southampton need a second goal. Wolves can't afford to concede a second goal. Will it come here? Ward-Prowse in. It's going to drop, is it? Oh, it drops into the arms of John Ruddy via a couple of deflections.
I think it was last touch off Romeo. He arrived a little bit later. The ball flighted in. I think it just clips Romeo here. Bednarek has no awareness of where the ball is, and there's no Danny Ings just sniffing around inside that 6-yard box for a tap-in.
Herver. Neves caught. Just see again as that ball dropped in there. It did hit the arm of Max Kilman.
Yeah, it was very accidental, wasn't it? I don't think his arm was in an unnatural position either.
Dendoncker. His brother Lars is now in the Premier League as well with Brighton. Neto. Trying to find a way back into this one. Neves into Traore, whose first touch evades him. Here he goes. No way through. Bertrand quite happy to stand his ground. Gifted to Willian Jose. Here's Ruben Neves. Blocked by Salisu. And Djenepo winning the free kick because the defender Keanu Herver just got a bit too keen.
Well, unless you can see Southampton creating their own troubles, which they've done a couple of times in this area of the pitch, you can't see Wolves capitalising. Salisu does really well there to get out and block the ball, stay big. But you're right, Traore's decision-making in that situation, it's very much a dead end. He tried to run down there. Got to come up with something a little bit more creative than that.
Well, it's been tough times for many people in and around the Wolverhampton area in the last year or so, and Nuno Espirito Santo, the Wolves head coach, has donated £250,000 of his own money to help tackle food poverty in the area as part of the Wolves Foundation's Feed Our Pack project. Certainly doing his bit in the city that he says has done so much for him since he arrived.
The club and the team mean so much to that city. When they got promoted, there's such a real shift, a real change, a buzz around the place. They certainly do have a big impact in the local community.
Herver. There's Traore on the outside. to Kiana Herver. Peters judged it well. Pedro Neto, one who's dazzled in the Premier League this season for Wolves. He's been involved in more goals in the league than any other player under the age of 20. Traore. Really good challenge by Bertrand to get back at him there. Ings, so much space for him. Redmond left, Armstrong right. It is Stuart Armstrong here. It's a good block by Kilman.
He did well to recover. Kilman, it looked like the space was just going to open up. It's no surprise to see Armstrong on his bike again, full of energy.
There have been 7 attempts on target in this game. They've all been for Southampton.
It's a pretty damning statistic, isn't it? And a real indicator of how toothless Wolverhampton Wanderers have been in this game.
Well, they only had 1 shot on target here against Leicester City on Sunday. Nuno's side not finding the goals right now. It's all very well saying they're missing Raul Jimenez, but you've got to create behind it.
I mean, he's brought great success to this club, hasn't he, over the past few seasons, but there must be questions possibly being asked of Nuno at the moment. It's probably one of his most difficult times he's had at the club in terms of results and performances.
You can see there in that graphic that Gibbs White has had the most touches in the opposition area for Wolves, and behind him, defender Roman Saiz when he's been up for corners.
Something's not right, is it, with this style of play? You know, in my mind, Wolves are known for that high tempo, high octane running, getting the ball wide, very simple, in, back, set, get it wide, get crosses into the box, and I've seen very little of that style in this match so far.
Neves finding Pedro Neto, 2 in there. Salisu's missed it. Adama Traore thwarted by the feet there of Fraser Forster. And there is an effort on goal for them.
Well, it's just so interesting that, as we spoke about it, that comes in, it gets wide, Neto gets in that position, puts a good ball into the box. It arrives with Traore. He doesn't do bad to keep it down, to be honest. It's not an easy one to just keep down and hit the target. He does that well. Foster just recovering across the goal, uses his feet.
João Moutinho in there. Gineppo helping it on its way. Southampton yet to make a change. At the moment, just over 10 to go. Wolves seem to be finding some energy. Willian Jose is in here. Forster again to the rescue.
Really good goalkeeping on his toes. He's not hardly had anything to do in this game. Good decision from the goalkeeper.
Willian Jose yet to score in Wolves' colours since moving on loan from Real Sociedad. Neto looking for Aït-Nouri. Wolves just seem to be slowly cranking up the rhythm here.
Well, Neto's picking up the positions, isn't he? He's starting to ask the question. He's dropping deep, then he's pulling wide. Starting to pull the Southampton players about a little bit.
Herver with time and space. And Salisu not convincing again. It's a corner.
He won't be happy with that contact with his left foot. Salisu to give a corner away there. Should be side footing that away for a worst case throw in.
Wolves 10 minutes away from heading out of the cup, unless they can find an equaliser. Redmond doing well. They knocked out the holders Arsenal in round 4. Southampton only once since 1992 have they knocked out top flight opposition in consecutive rounds. When they knocked out West Brom and Watford in 2017-18 en route to the semi-final. Neto trying to get away from Walker-Peters, which he did, but Armstrong was back there. Che Adams is imminent here for the away side.
An interesting substitution at this stage in the game with your team 1-0 up, isn't it? To put Che Adams on. I think he does hold the ball up quite well, though. Can be a useful tactic when you're trying to hang on to a 1-0 lead.
Looks like it's going to be like for like in terms of the Southampton change, with Danny Ings set to make way, the goal scorer. Out off Bednarek, it's a Wolves throw.
It's pretty remarkable that they haven't made a substitute yet, Southampton. It really is, with the games coming thick and fast. They're making one now, though.
So Danny Ings' night is done. And a goal which will be very welcome for him, even if it was slightly lucky in the end how it came back to him.
We'd just be delighted, won't he, to get on the score sheet. Important for him, important for his manager, to know that his star striker has got that goal. Sometimes it just needs that little bit of luck to kickstart a run of scoring.
Yeah, he had only got 1 in 10 before tonight, that after a run of 7 in his previous 10. And on comes a man who hasn't scored in his last 11. 2 men they could do with firing again if Southampton are to push up the Premier League table. Sides only 2 places apart in the standings. Dendoncker, Neves quickly into Neto. Aït-Nouri on the outside. Ruben Neves. João Moutinho letting it run, but there was no one there in old gold.
Surprising how well Djenepo's done defensively for Southampton this evening. You'd think he'd be in the team for that unpredictability with the ball, but he has defended well, got himself in good positions. Just got back inside there into the pitch and got himself in the way, became a nuisance, didn't allow the Wolves players to get a strike on goal.
Bertrand appears to have hurt his arm here. Did go down previously in that move, but got back up to try and help his side defensively.
United just took a blow to the arm here. I think it was a stamp, or just twisted his wrist or finger when he put his left hand down to the floor. Just there.
A painful one for him, as Adama Traoré maybe stood on top of his hand, as Matt was saying. Wolves on Sunday for Southampton, 12 o'clock start. Another 6 days off for another home game at lunchtime against Chelsea, and then up to Goodison they go for their first game of March. So there'll be another change here with Nathan Tella coming on. Former Arsenal trainee. Bertrand has a bandage on his hand now. I think it's probably just going to be an injury he plays on with here, isn't it?
You would think so. You know, I'm sure it can be painful, but it's on your left wrist. This stage of the game with this amount of time left, I'm sure he'll just get back on and finish the game.
Forster looking for Adams. Traoré. Neves. Trying to find Traoré again in that right channel, but the ball wasn't good enough. Nice play from Bednarek, giving Neto the slip. João Moutinho down for Traoré, who goes shoulder to shoulder there with Moussa Djenepo, who thinks he should have had a free kick.
It looked like a 50-50, didn't it? Traoré throwing everything into it.
Bertrand now in the wars again.
He'll look forward to his ice bath at the end of the game, I think, Ryan Bertrand.
The ice bath might be warmer than what they're playing in right now.
Probably.
Interesting interview with Kelechi Iheanacho after Leicester's last-minute win against Brighton last night, who said he couldn't be bothered with extra time because it was so cold.
That's a new one for me.
Southampton change. And Nathan Tella will come on here for Djenepo,
who I think's done well. Djenepo, he hasn't had much of the ball. I don't think he's been a real creative influence, but he's got through a lot of work, defended very well. Let's put a shift in for Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Tella's first appearance since the win against Liverpool back on the 4th of January. He had to come on for Djenepo in the first half. Time running out here for Wolves. Neto. It's a great mazy run from Pedro Neto, who's taken down right at the crucial moment. And that's what an enforcer does, I think, when your team needs it.
Well, you could just see that tackle coming a mile off. The moment he stepped inside, he did it really well, and he went past Romeo, and you thought he's not going to let that slide. And he lunges in. He was never going to get to the ball before. Neto always had his body in between him and the ball. He's put his team under a little bit of pressure here. It's a dangerous position, this. It's a perfect distance, really, to be able to get the ball up and down. They've got a couple of decent free kick takers in the team.
It's Ruben Neves who's going to take it here for Wolves. He's scored 3 times in his last 8 games. They could do with a Neves classic here. A man who's more than capable. Can he deliver here on the big stage when his side need him most? It's Ruben Neves. Disappointing.
I didn't even know where that went, whether it went middle of the wall. It didn't look like he struck it particularly well, Neves, at that point.
Hoover in towards Willian Jose. Salisu away. Moutinho. Dendoncker. Quickly into Traore. Hoover. Didn't have composure.
He hasn't put that much quality delivery into the box all evening, Hoover. It's been up and down that right-hand side. I can only think of one cross early on that he put in.
Danny Ings already inside in the warm. In Southampton's temporary changing room here, behind the glass in one of the executive suites. Probably the best place to watch the game from, in all honesty.
You get a nice view from the changing room, don't you? Highly unusual.
Sure, they're all reset in time, but they're the temporary measures that the clubs are having to work with and deal with at the moment in these COVID-19 times. Walking one for Ruddy, who's gifted it straight here to Tella. Still a chance for Southampton. Armstrong to wrap it up, which he's done. And Southampton are going through to the quarter-finals, no doubt about it now. What a performance it's been from Stuart Armstrong, and what a fine finish to secure their progression.
Well, he's been man of the match for me, Stuart Armstrong. And Ruddy there, he won't thank himself for offering him the opportunity. It really was a bad mistake from the Wolves goalkeeper, but there was a lot of work to do there for Armstrong, who's been brilliant all game. You think the chance has gone. Tella has an extra touch. This is the mistake from Ruddy. It's a poor side foot, but he doesn't deal with it. Tella, he can't get round Ruddy. It's a good pass back, but this finish with a man on the line, it really is pinpoint from Stuart Armstrong. It's very composed, just side foots the ball as it pops back. I think it's a Wolves player on the line, tries to get to it, but that is a superb finish from that angle. Picked the spot. Absolutely nailed it into the corner. Brilliant finish.
And delight on the face of Ralph Hasenhüttl. They're going to end their 4-game losing streak with a big win here in the FA Cup. And they will be in the quarter-final draw following this game. We're already a minute into 4 added time. Neto. Salisu away. Sounds strange, really, that a shot in off the post is just about as accurate as it can be.
Well, it is, isn't it? It's the furthest point from the goalkeeper, assuming the goalkeeper's in the middle of the goal. But it's more about the composure. I think he could have easily just lashed at that with power, but he got his head up, had a look and picked his spot with a bit of pace as well. It was a lovely finish.
Penny for his thoughts right now. Does he take the blame for playing a weakened front line?
Yeah, I think he has to shoulder it, doesn't he? It's a shame Ruddy's made a mistake. He's played in the Cups and be disappointed with that. But Wolves, whether it be 1-0 or 2-0, they just haven't been an attacking force at all this evening. It's only when Neto's come on the pitch and moved the Southampton defenders around a little bit, has asked a different question. But there's problems there for Southampton, for Wolves, sorry. And Southampton, even though they're not scoring a lot, they do look an attacking threat, you have to say. They've probed and probed, and they've always got that little set-piece delivery up their sleeve with James Ward-Prowse.
Adama Traore picking up a yellow card here for his challenge. Still like a really frustrated figure, hasn't he, since he's come on?
He's run down a lot of dead ends, almost looking like he just wants to face up and use his pace. And yes, pace is his star asset, but you've got to use it in the right way at the right time. And at the moment, it just looks a little bit confusing for me for Adama Traore.
He was a Copa del Rey winner with Barcelona back in 2015, but he's not going to be a winner with Wolves this season. Shea Adams is trying to wind down the clock now. They might get another. Teller going down. Penalty. Wriggling free of João Moutinho. And such an experienced player. Looks to have given away a penalty here in the closing stages, but was it outside? That's the question. Yeah,
I think this will come under review and be given as a foul outside the box. The contact there is clearly outside of the box. The right foot just made contact as it planted. It looked to be just outside. I'll be very surprised if it is a penalty.
I don't think you can apportion too much blame to the referee for giving that when he's looking down and half of the player's body is already inside the penalty area. It all happened so quickly.
Yeah, whenever a player falls into the area at pace, it's very hard for the referee to pinpoint the exact moment the contact took place. I think, as you see there clearly, that's just outside the line.
The check goes on. I think we probably should know by now.
It's pretty conclusive, isn't it? That picture there, that slow motion still frame.
I think there's no doubt that it's a foul. And it will be given as a free kick instead. Not that it's going to affect the outcome of this game too much, but it will be a free kick to Southampton here, right on the edge of the penalty area. I wonder whether James Ward-Prowse might fancy a crack here. A man who's in fine goal-scoring form from these free kicks this season, although after João Moutinho's intervention, I think John Moss has reconsidered where the free kick should be.
I think Moutinho thinks it's even closer to the goal line, but there's definitely enough angle on this for Ward-Prowse just to bend that into the back post.
As a former goalkeeper himself, Nuno was talking about it yesterday, saying that defending these set pieces, all you've got to do is set up a good wall and then pray.
Well said.
It's touched short instead. It doesn't matter in the end. Southampton are there. They're just keeping the ball as best they can. And that's it. Southampton go through to the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. Wolves didn't really turn up for the most part of this game, and Southampton eventually making it count. Danny Ings with their first to get himself a rare goal in recent times. And then a fine finish late on from Stuart Armstrong to make things safe in the final minute of the 90. Wolves bow out, but the Saints go marching on.